What's up, Punters Pod listeners? You can listen to us every Thursday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even watch us on YouTube. Now, let's get into the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Punters Pod.
What a time to be alive! Our Pies are done, and the Hawks are too. 16 team seasons are in the loo, and that means left there are only two, Geelong and Brisbane. The grand final is between you. Jezza, I think that was my best rhyme of the season.
I was just about to say that.
How are you? You might be sad, you might be hurt from Saturday, but life moves on until you get kicked in the balls on Monday. Speak to the people.
I hope, I know we have a lot of supporters from different teams that listen into the podcast.
They're celebrating right now.
No. What I was going to say is, because I have not indulged in a single ounce of football media this week. Nothing at all.
It's
I just have not listened to it at all. So I'm hoping all our Collingwood fans, supporters, all that, have tuned into this episode of the Punters Pod. This will be a bit of like a therapy session for all of us, because we've, like Ethan said, we've been kicked in the nuts a fair few times in this last week. A lot of people will be celebrating that, but we move. Grand final. Let's get it the fuck over and done with.
Huge grand final.
Let's get past it. Who cares about it? Fuck it anyway.
Jez is just joking, because on today's episode, we will get into the Prelim Finals reactions and reviews, a massive Brownlow wrap-up, and our reactions to Matt Rowell winning the Brownlow. We will go through our world-famous ones to watch player props for the last time this year, and we have a whopping 5 player props each, 10 total player props for this grand final, and we will be presenting to you a mega grand final Punters Pod multi that you can all ride with us, along with our Norm Smith pick and our first goal scorer. All of the huge topics heading into this massive grand final, and of course, our free tips for the last time this season for the grand final. I've just seen to my left, Jeremy, have a look at who the random player is above my head. Come on, Jezza. Brisbane Lions player. Early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
2011 to 2019.
I don't know who it is.
Obviously, he played for both grand final teams.
Ooh. No, it's not. I was about to say something so stupid.
I knew what you were going to say.
It's not Matthew Stokes.
It's not Matthew Stokes. And I knew you were going to say that. You're so disappointing. It's the grand final. I'll give you a bit of extra time this week.
No, give me initials.
AC. Like the aircon.
Aaron Cadman. I don't know.
Alan Christensen.
I never would have got it.
Alan Christensen played 65 games for Geelong between 2011 and 2019. And he scored a whopping 56 goals. And then he went on to the Brisbane Lions, where he played 68 games and scored 58 goals. So pretty even career at both clubs there. Alan Christensen retired in 2019. And now his two teams are playing off in the grand final. Jez, a little bit of trivia now. Name how many total players in history have played for both Geelong and Brisbane.
3.
3 is correct. Can you name one of the other ones?
Would I know them?
He's currently an AFL player.
Link McCarthy.
Link McCarthy. And another one who also played for North Melbourne. He had a very bad hairline. He was very old. He played until he was very old. Josh Walker. You ain't not going to get that one. All right, Jez, hit us with your sook, your whinge. The boys had to hear you go on and on and on about this mega multi. One of the players is playing this week, Jeremy Cameron, who won the Coleman, and you needed a Brownlow medal pick, Nick Dacos, who did not get up. Talk to us about the Brownlow.
Let me start by saying, the start of next year, when we do all of our predictions and this and that, me and Ethan discussed last night, we are only, I'll give you a Brownlow medalist, but I could just pick fucking a random name off the board and I'll just throw a dart at a list of names and I'll pick that one. We're only going to be giving out picks on shit that can, physically happen. It's a tangible thing. Like someone kicking
it's not subjective.
Goals, someone getting disposals. I think we need to do that too. Bet on who gets the most disposals in here, because there are those markets.
Yeah.
Tangible things that can actually happen rather than this made up bullshit award that we have. Now, obviously, I've lost my bet, clearly, and I did not cash out. I stayed true to my word, boys. So some of you will be proud of me, and some of you will say you're a fucking idiot. Why the fuck would you do that? I don't care. The $100 that I lost means absolutely nothing to me.
But the 8K you could have won would have meant a lot.
I would have, but I don't count that. Like when I gamble, I don't count that money as my money until it's actually in my account. So I did not factor in that money at all.
Correct.
Now, I'm not even going to sit here and bitch about Nick not getting votes or shit like that, because I'll be honest, I was tracking the Brownlow. We were going along with it very thing. He was getting favoured a lot. There were a couple games at the start, a couple games early where I did not have him polled for votes, and he got a 2 or a 1 or just Nick. So he was polling great. Obviously, the big outlier is Real, but I don't even want to get into that as much. What I want to talk about with the Brownlow is, and this is something that, and one of our listeners was messaging me last night, and he's 100% correct. Shout out Rex, long-time listener of the podcast. And we were talking last night, and he was saying there has to be some type of corruption within this. Just for the fact of a couple of years ago, we saw some corruption, and they're going through, I think they're still going through like court hearings about the corruption with the Brownlow. I've seen a heap of shit today that we need to take the votes off the umpires because they've got a job to do, and their job really isn't to think. And something that we hold in such high standards like the Brownlow medal should not be left up to the umpires, who we think can't even do their job properly. And then they have the job to do of handing out the most prestigious award in the AFL to players. But put all that aside. Tell me how it's not corrupt. The way that, and let me just paint the picture for you. A couple of years ago, a similar scenario happened, and I can't remember the player it happened with, but one player had an outstanding game, and it was like, this game cannot be beaten. It is a clear 3-vote game. And then it comes to Brownlow night, and that player somehow gets the 2 or the 1, all right? Now, if you asked any person who even remotely watched AFL this season, tell me what game you think the best game individual performance a player had was this year. Maybe some people will give you, when Jezza kicked 10 against North Melbourne, but would they? Maybe some people will tell you, Nick Dacos 40 and 3 goals against Richmond. The clear-cut best game, in my opinion, and I think in 90% of the AFL
everybody's
viewers' opinion, would be Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller in that fourth quarter against Melbourne. I don't care if you say, but in the first quarter he had a couple clangers, or maybe he did his damage late. The umpires have no excuses at all to not give him the 3 votes there. 2 goals in the final minute of the game.
The final 30
match-saving incredible mark. He takes a specky, mark, kicks the goal, the second last goal of the game to put them within striking distance, then takes another mark, back with the flight of the ball, and kicks a goal after the siren to win the game. And somehow this player does not get the 3 votes. Now, I don't care what anyone says, but this has to be blatantly corrupt. And the AFL need to check the umpires' betting accounts and people who are around the umpires or associated with these umpires, and show me that these people do not have Jack Viney for 3 votes. You can now vote, and it's been out for a couple of years now. You can now vote on individual games and a player to get 3 votes. If anyone in the universe voted on Jack Viney for 3 votes in that game, you cannot tell me that this shit is not rigged and the umpires don't secretly discuss, go along with their votes, and then give them to their family, friends, or...
I want the umpires, dogs, neighbours, aunties, cousins, pets to be checked.
Yeah.
Somebody out there had Viney for 3 votes.
You know what?
There is no other way. And if anybody tells me Viney had 16 tackles, you really reckon umpires are caring about tackles when...
Well, they fucking do.
Rail was getting 15 disposals and 2 tackles and still getting 3 votes. That's bullshit. Viney... If anybody in Australia had Viney for 3 votes that game, it's beyond me. The AFL is dead.
It's just like, okay, maybe Viney did have a great game, and maybe, like, really when you look at it...
Give him the 2.
But in front of the umpire's eyes and shit, maybe he had a stellar game. I don't care how good of a game you've had. If you kick the last 2 goals in the game to win that game, it's so
fresh in your mind.
After the siren... How long does it take for the umpires to go in and do incredible? I don't want to go on it for too long because you will hear this no, you won't hear it every day because it'll slowly switch in the grand final chat. But it's incredible. I can't believe it. That decision mainly, and when you get the whole room of people laughing at the AFL, and then add on to that too, like, honestly, this last week, and it's, yes, because I'm a salty Collingwood supporter, but it's really made me, like, off the AFL a little bit. I can't lie.
Yeah,
How is Mark of the Year not a mark? Like, the player has not taken the mark.
I know.
There have been that many decisions this year where that exact same scenario has happened and the umpires called play on. But because in that scenario, the umpire didn't call play on. And it wasn't even a good mark. Like,
I know. Like, if that was not Sam Darcy, if that was who's another, like,
well, it was Zach Bench. Like,
Zach Bench's mark was better than Sam Darcy's.
I don't know how we've whittled away to mark of the year is now a fly back with the fly to the ball.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of contact.
And you get contact. Yeah. Like,
no, but
maybe I'm stupid and I didn't take a note. Did nobody take a hanger this year?
Jamie Elliott did in the prelim. But
but apart from that, did nobody take a mark?
Clearly not. But if you really whittle it down, if you swap Zach Bench and Sam Darcy, Zach Bench's mark wins mark of the year. It's just the name. And that's what I feel like it was with the Brownlow as well. You've been on this horse the whole year, Jez, and look, maybe this is way too conspiracy, but
it's not.
You can't tell me the AFL does not want Gold Coast to be successful, relevant, and everywhere. Rao wins the Brownlow. It's not a coincidence when he gets 4 games where he has fantasy scores under 60 and he gets to the 3 votes, okay? Fantasy takes into account every little stat. Fantasy takes into account tackling, marking, efficiency, everything. 4 games, under 60 fantasy points, he gets to 3 votes. Now, what does this mean? Now, of course, in Queensland today, in Gold Coast today, there is going to be Matt Rowell plastered everywhere. The Queensland, whatever it is, their local newspaper will have Matt Rowell's face plastered on the back in the middle of NRL finals. Like, there is no way that Matt Rowell had a season that was worthy. You can't tell me that Anderson all of a sudden doesn't poll votes. You can't tell me, fair enough, Anderson maybe, because he doesn't have the built-up voting capacity that other players have shown that they poll well. Tuke Miller has finished top 5 in the Brownlow. Tuke Miller has finished top 3 in the Brownlow. Tuke Miller had a game where Matt Rowell had 17 disposals and got the 3 votes, where he had 35 disposals and 2 goals. A historically good poller in the Brownlow medal gets 0 votes that game. How does that all of a sudden change? You can't bring up the argument that Matt Rowell's more contested, because once upon a time, Tuke Miller was getting the attention of the umpires. What has changed?
And before anyone says anything, you've heard me multiple times on this show say that I could not give a fuck less about the Brownlow. Like,
same. Look, I woke up this morning not really like, oh no, Nick didn't win it. I don't care that much.
But I genuinely 100% honest. The only reason I wanted Nick to win the Brownlow is for my bet. And so as selfish as it is, I don't care if a Collingwood player wins the Brownlow. I don't care if a thing wins the Brownlow. And back to your point about the disposals and shit like that. Like, last year, there was all this uproar about Cripps. But I could see it. Like, and as much as I don't like Carlton, as much as I could see it.
Cripps is dominant in a game.
And Cripps is dominant in a game. And Cripps still had 22 disposals and 2 goals.
When he was getting 3 votes.
Exactly. 100% correct. This bullshit of Rao had 16 disposals and 10 of those disposals were clangers, and somehow he gets the 3. We're going on way too long with this.
Last thing I want to say, I want your opinion. Agree or disagree? Matt Rowell's Brownlow goes into the Adam Cooney, Ollie Wines, and Matt Prittis Brownlow for me, which is just like a pity Brownlow.
No.
It's not a real Brownlow.
No, it's worse than all 3 of those, because Ollie Wines in that season had a stellar season. I'd love for someone to put up Wines' numbers.
Silver, when you put up that group of Brownlow medalists I name against like Judd, Dangerfield, Fife, Swan,
no, I'm sorry,
Cousins. That group versus the group of 5 I just named, day and night, these players aren't true Brownlow medalists.
That's where you're wrong, though, because I truly believe in every year that the Brownlow has been given out, that's maybe an exaggeration, but most of the time, the best player in the league gets the Brownlow. Like, Lachie Neale, when he's won it, has been the best player in the league. Or arguably top 5, all right?
Yeah.
To win the Brownlow, you have to be top 5. Cripps was top 5 last year. Neale was top 5 the year before.
Good point.
Wines would have been top 5 that season.
But
Real has not been a top 5 player this season.
In his career, because if you asked anybody midway through the season, name your top 10 players in the AFL right now, Real would not be there. If you asked him after round 24, name your top 5 players in the AFL right now, you would have 10 players above Matt Real.
Smith, Dacos, Anderson, Dawson.
You still say Neale,
You
Cripps,
still say
Bontempelli,
Bontempelli. Exactly, Cripps. Like,
Darcy, Cameron. It just goes on, and he's won the Brownlow. But there was bigger fish to fry just this week. There was bigger stories than a shitty medal that the umpires give out. And that was the game to get into the grand final, the prelim finals. And it started with the Cats versus the Hawks on Friday night, where the Cats were just far, far too dominant.
I feel like, to start off this game, Hawthorn obviously took that massive lead to start it off. Or they just looked to
I was
be the
never
better
scared.
team. I was never scared either, but maybe forward thinking a bit, or foreshadowing a bit. When we got to the Brisbane Collingwood game, we obviously went to it, and the Pies started off really slow. I actually took a bit of hope from the game before, and I said, no.
A quarter time,
Geelong,
you said. Yeah,
I said Geelong started really slow as well. It's because of the week off, blah, blah, blah. So maybe the week off does have a bit to do with that. Maybe that's something we look forward to next season.
I think that's the biggest bullshit, because
reckon?
clearly this week, one of the teams in the prelim that had the week off won. One of the teams that had the week off
but
lost.
I'm just saying,
it means nothing.
I'm just saying first quarter, a bit of thing. The other team has flown
Momentum,
straight through. Momentum.
We'll see.
I believe that. So next year, little reminder, we're going to be taking the team who's played in the semi first quarter line.
Yeah, nice.
Anyway,
I like that.
It kind of went the way you thought it was going to go.
Yeah, it went the way you thought it was going to go. And even when the Hawks started hot, and then even when they brought it back close late, I still was very confident about the Cats.
A lot of celebrations preeminently from me, Ethan, and all of our Collingwood friends when Stuart went down, and thinking about the prospect of losing Geelong in the grand final without Tom Stewart. It felt like everyone was going down because Henry went down at one stage. Dangerfield very early went down to the rooms.
And then came on and turned into Jesus.
He must have been pumped with testosterone or some shit in there. To come back out like he did.
Check him.
That Geelong have played it to perfection, and you've probably heard it 1,000 times this week too, but played it to absolute perfection. And I think it's what Collingwood tried to do with De Goey, but De Goey clearly isn't at the level
ran
of
out of
Patrick
gas
Dangerfield.
in the prelim.
They've just played it perfection. And at the start of the season, I don't know if you all remember, but it was like, Jeremy Cameron and Patrick Dangerfield can't operate in the same forward line because Jezza started slow and Danger was scoring all these goals. That was never their plan to play him as a forward. Just
and it ended up working itself out during the season anyway. Yeah. And was very, very functional.
But finals come around, they just slot him straight back into that midfield and he just fucking dominates. How old is he? 35, 36. To have 31 disposals, 3 goals straight.
In a prelim.
Unbelievable. And I do not...
You're the biggest Patrick Dangerfield hater.
I'm a massive hater, but you got to respect it.
Big time.
You got to respect it.
And it is just a master stroke. 6 centre bounce attendances all season, home and away season. And then he has, I think, 15 now in the 2 finals he's played. That is just ridiculous. Stewart being out did not affect this game one little bit. And honestly, I don't, we'll get to the preview later, obviously, massive preview today. I don't think it's really going to significantly affect the grand final either. I know he's a great player, but I think Geelong's backline still is so solid with Henry, even with O'Sullivan now. He's just he just fits perfectly with Guthrie there. It just doesn't kill them.
You've just got to remember too, they played most of the season without him anyway.
Yeah.
The whole season he's been in and out, injured for 2 weeks, back in for 3, suspended, this, that. He hasn't had a continuous season, so it really isn't going to affect him that much.
They were very dominant. The Hawks are being looked upon as very favourable for next year, but I feel like the season didn't crash out because you make a prelim. What else can you ask for? You were there to contend, but I think the optimism around Hawthorn is crazy. Sure, if they get Zach Merritt, they'll be premiership favourites again, but I don't see this Hawthorn team. I see them a very big tier below Geelong, for example. Right? Say Geelong's the benchmark right now, and going into next season, say they win the premiership, they'll be the benchmark. Hawthorn for me is a big step below, and I don't see much like Gunston to recreate a 70-goal season is difficult. So, and I don't think Chol, I don't think he is going to fill that void if Gunston's not to do it. I don't think Dia is ready yet to have a 70-goal season. So I don't think this Hawthorn team is just linear going to be better next year. They will still be around the mark.
I'll be honest with you. That is my only concern about Hawthorn going forward is the forward line. And yes, I know they have their little flight.
I think their midfield's pretty average. And
their midfield is super average.
I think Will Day is overrated.
If you bring in next year Zach Merritt and Will Day, I'm sorry, that is
Will Day for 3 games before he gets injured.
Yeah, probably. But
exactly.
I think their back line is great as well. So their forward line's the only worry for me.
Well, you were the biggest Barras and Battle hater.
I know, but they worked it out. I kind of feel like this season kind of showed us a bit that don't really take regular season or home and away season into consideration that strongly, because all 4 of the teams that we saw in the prelim finals both had great runs, but both had really bad runs as well, where everyone was worried about them. Start of the season, Geelong lose to St Kilda, and then they had a couple other losses, like a GWS one and shit like that. It's
look, it's for me, it's more you base it off the team's best.
Yes,
because that's what they will bring in finals. And obviously, the 4 teams that were left all brought their best. Cats were clearly the better team, and we're going to get into the second prelim now, the Pies versus Lions, and the Lions were the better team on the day.
Before we get into that, we're going to take a quick little break, get into Pies versus Lions prelim, unfortunately, and into our free picks. Tired of losing on the punt?
Want to start making long-term profit while sports betting?
We have the solution for you.
And its name is Punt AI.
Join a group of Australia's top punters who specialise on sports all year round.
And gain access to their bets and in-depth analysis.
Head over to their Instagram page right now to find out more and DM them the word premium to gain access to all of their premium tips.
Let them know we sent you and use code PUNT20 at checkout to receive 20% off your first period.
Now, back to the show. All right, boys, we are back, and let's get into this Pies versus Lions prelim final.
Do we have to, Jez? Do we have to? But we do. To put it simply, in my opinion, say what you want. The Lions were just better on the day. I said it directly after the game to a random other spectator that we were sitting near, Pies fan. I just said to him, you can't expect to win a prelim final playing 1 quarter, and that's what Collingwood did. I don't think Brisbane were phenomenal on the day, but just overall, across the 4 quarters, their performance was just simply better. There's no denying that, in my opinion.
There were 2 key moments in the game that derailed Collingwood. The first is coming out after 3/4 time, after half time, and just letting them pile on 2 goals instantly.
Straight away.
Brought the margin right back to a tied game, or Collingwood were leading by a point. That was the first point. Second point, and say what you will and say that I'm salty, whatever. You can't deny that front on contact call to Elliott was not a massively influential moment.
Huge.
That brings the game. Collingwood get the momentum.
Within a goal, the Collingwood chance going.
That Cox, whatever it was, toe poke, whatever, score review gets
the crowd
confirmed. Crowd gets G'd up. Clearance, it bounces around for a bit, but then Elliott front on contact call. If he gets that call, Collingwood kicks the goal. It's only within 5 points or just a goal, whatever.
It's a goal, yeah.
Who knows what could happen? Once again, a reason why. And it's of course it's because I'm a Collingwood fan, but another reason why I'm fucking off the footy at the moment, because
that call kills the game.
Yeah, and
it does.
I know that everyone's going to think, and it's been talked about for the last 5 days, but it's he got all ball and this and that, blah, blah.
There's no denying it's black and white a free kick, okay?
That call, whether it's been all ball or anything, but the calls during the year haven't been scrutinised or looked into this deeply. When a player, yes, and Starcevic had his eyes on the ball. When a player gets front on contact, that's what the rule is.
His body was turned. There's no denying it.
Front on contact and thing, but whatever. There's no point to think.
We don't have to analyse that free kick because I think everybody listening knows it was supposed to be a free kick. It didn't get paid. My point is, I still think, look, if that free kick's paid, I believe Collingwood would go on to win the game with the momentum, with everything going their way. Brisbane, obviously, after that free kick, goes straight away to kick a Charlie Cameron goal, breaks Collingwood's back, then 5 goals like that. Okay?
The score blew out to way more than what it should have been.
Exactly. But my whole point is, over the game, I still think Brisbane had the better performance. I'm willing to admit that, honestly. That's what I'm willing to do.
I'm not.
I think they did.
I'm not.
You think Collingwood performed better on the day?
I don't think either team outperformed each other. I think that there were massive swings in momentum with Brisbane going out to that, what was it, like 20-point lead,
yeah.
in the first quarter. Collingwood surge in the second, score 6 goals in the second to none. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think, like, I don't know, little swings in that game that can determine it.
Look, the stoppage goals were killing Collingwood.
Oh, yeah.
The forward stoppage goals,
massive issue.
And the Ashcroft goal off the ground, like, he had a good game. After all the shit I've given him this year for not being impactful, he was pretty good. McCluggage, the 37 disposals, I'd live with that if I was Collingwood because I don't think he was the match winner himself. Obviously, 37 disposals is not great to allow. But I think if Collingwood, for example, if things went Collingwood's way, the Elliott free kick gets paid, Collingwood win that game. I don't think anyone's stressing over McCluggage. But Geelong do have the matchup, so we'll see.
It's not even a thing of the Elliott free kick gets paid and Collingwood win the game. The Elliott free kick gets paid, and it's a more enjoyable spectacle for everyone. Like, it's a closer game.
And I think everyone can admit that that decision should be made. The umpire froze. The umpire shut himself.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is now? We're going to say this, and everyone's going to be like, no, you're salty Collingwood supporters, or no, that was front on contact, because it just is Collingwood way.
No,
it's just like...
It's what people want.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what people want.
Exactly.
But if it's black and white, you take the currencies out of it, both teams are wearing pink jerseys, you don't look at that and say that's not a free kick.
No, of course.
But anyway, Jez, I don't even care, because the umpire who didn't play the Elliott free kick probably goes for Carlton anyway. I don't want to make the granny.
I don't like Snoop Dogg shit as fuck at half.
He's a criminal. Snoop Dogg's a criminal.
Yeah, I didn't even want to go watch that criminal fucker perform. Like,
Right.
why would you want to do that?
Exactly. I didn't want to go to the grand
I'm glad
final.
we didn't make it.
Get me there when it's like Lady Gaga. I don't want Snoop Dogg. No chance.
Honestly, Kiss was like the best halftime performance.
Yeah, better than Snoop Dogg already. Yeah, it's better than Snoop Dogg already.
We want some criminal rapper.
Yeah, exactly.
So
not me. Not me.
Thank you.
Bro, you know what? At the end of the day, if you really think about it, the AFL just wanted like Dan Gorringe to have good content for his stream. That's all it was. If they wanted Collingwood to lose for the content, that's it.
By the way, I'm just saying, if you're a fucking like type of person to post, like repost Dan Gorringe shit on your story, like grow the fuck up. Honestly.
If you're above the age of 12 and you watch that live stream,
I'll
Dan
give it
Gorringe,
14. I'll say 14. If you're above 14 and you're like reposting Dan Gorringe with face paint on your story,
hey, what should you give up earlier? Wearing a Guernsey as like to the footy, or watching Dan Gorringe videos? I reckon 16 for both is like pushing it.
Yeah, pushing it. 16 for both of those, big time. Do we get into the free picks, or you got a little something else for us?
You always forget about betting results, Jez. Betting results from last week, the prelims we just discussed. For me personally, not too much exciting. Pies lose turns my week to worse. After Pendlebury gets voided, I had Pendlebury in 2 of my multis. I only had 2 multis on that game.
Exact same.
Gets voided for both. And on the Hawks-Cats game, I just misread the play a little bit. It was very close to an $8 multi. But my one-to-watch pick last week of Ollie Dempsey, anytime goal, lets me down. He scores 0 goals and 2 behinds. It hurts because you do all the research. You see that he has 10 out of 10 goals in his last 10 games at the G, but he still fails to get it done. Breaks my $8 multi, but this week, grand final, we get redemption.
The only one, or the only real bad beat I had was I loved the thought. I told you at the end of last episode, actually, Bo McCreary I think he was going to have a big game. That's what I said last week. I put him for 14 plus disposals on tap at $3.10.
I know, good value.
Ends on 13. Like, that
was really good value.
Just kicking the nut, just to make my Saturday night even worse. Ends on 13. But we move on to a grand final. A grand final. I'm not going to say huge. A grand final.
And a grand final, exactly. Because we will get into it shortly, but we are predicting a bit of a stinker, Jez. First off, before we get into that prediction and those previews, I have a few would you rathers to do with grand finals, okay? Would you rather win a Norm Smith you probably didn't deserve and everyone will say you probably got lucky to win, or deserve the Norm Smith but get robbed and don't win it?
No, definitely. Win the Norm Smith.
Of course. I'm with that.
Every day of the week, I would rather win the Norm Smith. Because you know what? No matter what you do, people are going to talk shit about it anyway. Like, even if the most obvious Norm Smith winner will still have people say, no, Hugh McCluggage deserved it, not Will Ashcroft. Like,
And
you know what I mean? Like,
in the history books, in 20 years' time, you'll still be a Norm Smith medalist,
100%.
and the person who didn't deserve it will not be. My second would you rather here. Would you rather get one touch in the grand final, but it's the sealer to win the game?
Sealer touch.
Sealer.
You seal the game with a touch.
Kick.
Oh,
Do you not know what a touch is?
for a goal.
Would you rather kick the ball one time in the game,
Yeah.
but it's the sealer to win the game? It's the only disposal you've had,
Yeah, I get
but it's a goal to win the game?
Okay, a goal to win the game.
Yes.
Okay, goal. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay,
All right.
yeah.
Would you rather get one touch and it's the goal to seal
Okay,
the game,
Yes, thank you.
or have 40 disposals in a grand final win?
Goal to seal the game.
I'd rather have 40
No.
because you're most likely winning the Norm Smith.
No.
and you are like remembered
Wait,
for that
is this
game
goal to seal the game or goal like to win the game?
to win the game.
No, goal to win the game. Are you joking?
All right,
You will get more plaudits for that than the person who wins the Norm Smith.
I still think I'd rather win a Norm Smith.
No fucking chance. No chance in hell.
I still
am
think I'd rather
No
have the
way.
Norm Smith medal. But anyway, fair enough. And the last one here, Jez. Let's say the footy gods came to you. You're a player on grand final day, and they come to you on grand final morning and say to you, you can play in today's game, but your team will lose. Or your team can win if you pull your hamstring in the warm-up and miss the game. Which do you
This is
choose?
so bad. Both of those are so bad. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to do. I'd pull the hamstring.
So you pull the hamstring and let your team
Because I
win?
feel like the pain of losing a grand final would be even worse. Like, what's the point of the excitement of playing if you're going to lose?
Yeah, I know, but
If you know you're gonna lose.
do you really want to be sitting on the sideline knowing you could have played in the grand final?
And the alternative is that you know you're going to go out there and lose.
It's
So-
true. It's probably the worst
And
of
you
both
still
worlds.
get all the celebrations afterwards. And you probably get some type of like recognition like Big O got last year.
Yeah,
because it's like,
okay, you're
he
right,
helped
you're
us
right,
through all the
you're right.
finals.
Yep,
And
you're
now,
right.
yeah.
Let's get into the free tips, Jez. Let's get into the fucking grand final.
Geelong versus the Brisbane Lions
Here we go.
at the MCG. I'm really, really, really trying to convince myself that this could potentially be a close game. Maybe the more talented Brisbane midfield gain dominance and overpower the Cats. Maybe the X Factor Lions shine and have huge games. Maybe Harris Andrews puts in a heroic intercepting game and gets them over the line. All of these scenarios, and I still can't find a way where the Lions win this game. The Cats dominated in the first qualifying final
Yep.
matchup between these two teams, and they should have really won by way more than they already did.
Yeah, look, Geelong in that game, they ultimately won the game by 38 points, but in reality, it was a 60-point win. If you consider the swing of momentum from them two Rayner free kick goals back-to-back, and then there was another bullshit free kick goal that Brisbane were robbed of, and it went to the other side of the ground, and Geelong were robbed of, and it went to the other side of the ground, and Brisbane scored from. That game was truly a 10-goal win. It was dominant display from Geelong, no maybes, ifs, or buts.
And it was like not even close dominant. It was like blowout.
Outplayed. Outplayed in every facet.
Disgustingly
And
outplayed.
now, to make matters worse, from that game, Brisbane have lost Neale, and now they've lost Berry, whereas the Cats have only lost Stewart. I think once again, the Lions got weaker since that qualifying final than Geelong did.
I can only see this game going one way, and unfortunately, I can see it. I can see all of us in for another boring grand final. Sorry. I think Geelong are perfectly built to stop this Lions team. The dual threat of Mullins and O'Connor to stop McCluggage and most likely Rayner again.
Look, I had to put like this. Lions are a very good side, but I think every single weapon they possess, Geelong have the answer to combat against it.
100%.
McCluggage, obviously, will get done by Mullen again to some extent. He'll probably play through it a bit better this week. Do you think he will?
No, I don't, because
No, I think he'll have more than 12 disposals. I think he will find a way to do better than he did last time they versed. Or you don't think
I
so?
don't think so. I think McCluggage is the type of player who hasn't dealt with a tag for most of his career. So now it kind of shocked him in the first final, and now once again, I think it's going to shock him again. I think I'm staying McCluggage unders 100%.
Well, Ashcroft last time didn't really get attention, but that attention was on Neale. Now he will get Atkins' attention. Rayner will be held by O'Connor again unless they give him another 3 bullshit goals in the goal square. And then if you even want to go down the path of Harris Andrews' intercepting game, Shannon Neale can do the job like Billy Frampton did 2 years ago and like he did a couple weeks ago.
If you want any like kind of hope as a Lions supporter, I'll say that they're not going to play Cam Rayner strictly in the forward 50 like they did last time. That did not work at all. They're going to push him into the midfield and they're going to keep him around stoppage.
Even Bailey, because no Neale, you're forced to play these players elsewhere.
Speaking about Neale, do you think Neale plays?
I would not play Neale. If I'm Brisbane, I would not take the risk. I think Neale is selfish for even trying to play this game.
I think Neale's selfish for even a couple weeks ago, like dropping comments and saying hints and shit
putting it in people's heads. Like,
now, listen, selfish might be harsh because...
No, 6-week injury, you're putting yourself ahead of the team because you are upset. You might get FOMO if they win and you didn't play in it.
Yeah, selfish is harsh because... Of course, you're going to want to play in a grand final. But I just think that taking that big of a risk, and teams usually don't do that, but he's such a big player. He's pushed it out in the media so hard. Like, roaming Brian 2 weekends ago.
He did 3 interviews 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he's done the interviews. He's done, like, the Thursday interview. He'd done the roaming Brian where he's saying, yeah, I was running heaps this morning. Like, I can play.
But I've heard the argument that is a 60% healthy Neale better than your 24th player? I don't think so. I think I'd rather... Bruce Reveal was the sub last week. I think I'd rather have Bruce Reveal play the whole game and put Rayner and Bailey through the midfield more than a 60% half-cooked Neale.
Well, I reckon you were debating me on it last week and I was saying Neale's a big out and you were saying no, because now it lets everyone else play better into their strength.
Ashcroft wouldn't have played that good last week in the prelim.
He didn't play great. He only had 20 disposals.
But he was very impactful, in my opinion.
But I do sort of agree with you after that now. Like... But then again, Neale does take out a thing and like frees up. Anyway, either way, I honestly, truly down to my core, cannot see Brisbane getting anywhere close in this grand final. I think this is going to be disgusting. I think it once again is going to be boring as fuck, a massive blowout. The Cats forward line works about as well as any forward line I've ever seen in my life. They all complement each other so well, from your Jeremy Cameron and your Shaggy-Neals to then your Bowes, Manners,
Brad
Close, the hard workers. They throw Myers through there. Stengel as well is just that X factor. It's just like the most well put together forward line ever. This whole Leicester keeps Jeremy Cameron quiet is bullshit.
In that first quarter, oh my God.
In the first quarter of the qualifying final, he kicked 2 goals, so he had 5 scoring shots.
That was probably one of the most explosive first quarters from a player I've seen all season. Like, he looked like he was going to dominate. Yeah, they ended up putting... Who they put on him? Gardner or Harris Andrews? They put somebody on him and it corralled him a little bit. But even if Jezza starts hot and you have to put Harris Andrews on him, it just takes Harris Andrews out of the game. Geelong are so well built for this final. I think they're very well built to come up against Brisbane. I think the Lions forwards aren't overly dominant. And then even without Stewart, Geelong's backline is very solid. So, I don't know. I can't really see many ways where Geelong don't win this game. I think this is a pretty easy one to pick. I think it's lackluster, similar to last year's grand final. I think the Cats hammer them. My free tip might sound crazy to a lot of you, but it's paying $4. My free tip is the Cats 40 plus. I honestly think it's that big of a grand final.
My free tip is going to be the Cats minus 12.5 at a Zion.
It's safe, and I probably will do that, but I still think there's a chance 40 plus is viable.
I'm going to hammer 40 plus. I'm sorry, I just we've seen it way too often in these last couple of years, and it's like, yes, Brisbane came out last year and they won the hard way, like they were going to have to do this season as well. But Sydney were never this dominant. Like, Sydney came back and won and just beat the Giants in that, was it the first final?
Yeah.
The first final to get them into the prelim. They versed Port Adelaide, who were fucking hot. Like, they were cooked by then in the prelim final and went straight into the thing. Like, this is a hardened Geelong side. This is a Geelong side that only 3 weeks ago smacked the fuck out of this exact same Lions team. There's no other way this goes.
This Lions team has gotten worse.
There's no other way this goes. My free tip is the Cats minus 12.5. Let's get into some player props. And by the end of this, me and Ethan will divulge a nice little multi to give you boys. Well, we'll call it the Punters Pod Grand Final
Mega multi.
And we'll chuck that in for you. My first player prop, bit left field, and these are all going to be around the 120 to 160 marks. Josh Dunkley, 8+ tackles. He had an insane number the last time these two teams versed each other in that first one. I think he had 11 or some shit like that.
What's that paying?
$1.23.
Nice little multi-builder. I like it. My first player prop.
Yeah, he had 11 in the first final.
Okay, so 8 should be attainable for dunks. My first player prop here is Patrick Dangerfield, 20+ disposals at $1.65.
I have that one as well.
Look, we've seen, like we mentioned before, a dramatic increase in centre bounce attendances in this final series, all home and away season. He was building for this. Heaps of more opportunity, built for finals, how he plays. I think if Geelong are up, they are going to just chuck him in there like they did with Selwood, like celebrate that player in the grand final. I think they'll do it Dangerfield. I think 20+, $1.65 is very good value.
Absolutely love that. We're definitely putting that in the multi because I have that one too. Another one I have is Dane Zorko, 24+ disposals at $1.45. Geelong this whole season have put zero attention to him. He smashed this number every time.
He's got 3 votes against Geelong both times they versed.
And he had 35 in that first final. There is no chance he doesn't break this number. I'm going to also sprinkle him for like 30 and 35 disposals as well. Even if they're losing, it just helps it even more because Geelong are going to have scoring shots out the arse. Zorko's going to be taking kick-ins and chipping it around the back. 35. It's not 35, 24. I love it.
That's exactly why I chose my next player, which is a Brisbane Lion, 4 20+ disposals at $1.50. That's Darcy Wilmot. Has had an incredible year and is one of these players whose personal statistics will not be affected either way the game swings, even if it goes the way me and Jez predict, which is a Geelong smashing. He's either in intercepting spots if the Cats are on top and attacking, or if the Brisbane Lions need to get it out of their 50, he will always be in the chain. Out of his last 10 games, he has hit 20+ in 8, putting him at an 80% hit rate of 20+.
And my final one is going to be Sean Manor, anytime goal scorer at $1.31. Just feel like Sean in big games like this, really, like you just see him pop out of nowhere and kick a big goal. Takes me back to that Hawthorn game earlier on in the season for the Easter Monday clash. I just can see him scoring a massive goal, even when Geelong are blowing him out by 40 in junk time and kicking a few then.
My next pick here is going to be, I'm going back to the well with my player prop from last week, which is Ollie Dempsey, anytime goal scorer at $1.75. Yes, he failed me last week, but he had 0 goals and 2 behinds, so his performance was there. He had the opportunities. Before that game, he was 10 games straight, goal at the MCG. He's still got the chances. I think he will get one, especially if Geelong is on top, and he has no Weddle to contend with this week.
Now, are we ready to build this multi or do you have one more left?
I've got one more left, Jez. And my last one here is Josh Dunkley, 25+ disposals at $2.10. It might sound crazy, but Dunkley has hit this marker in every game he has played against Geelong since 2022.
Really?
7 out of 7 times. Even if Dunks goes to someone, he will still be around the footy and in contested positions, which should help him clear that number.
I love that stat. How much was that paying?
Dunkley 25+ at $2.10.
All right, so let's start building this multi. I think we lower that one a bit.
Okay, yeah.
Just for the safety.
Do we get 18?
I'm thinking even like 21.
All right.
21 is at $1.30. I absolutely love the Dangerfield pick. So are we going to go Danger for... Danger 19 is still paying $1.46.
Do we play it safe and go Danger 19?
I think we play safe, even safer maybe, and just go Danger 18. Actually, no, fuck that.
Let's go. It's grand final.
We're going balls. Do we hit him with a 21 as well?
Wait, is he going to do both?
Yeah, both of them at 21.
Okay, do both at 21.
Both of them at 21. So
far, we got Dunkley at 21 disposals.
And we got Danger at 21 disposals. This is currently paying $2.50 on Sportsbet. Do you like Zorko? Because I love Zorko.
I like Zorko. Your reasoning was very, very good.
And also, are we thinking Wilmot?
I think we take one or the other. I think we go Zorko. But right. I do like Dempsey. I like a goal scorer in there, and I feel like Dempsey will score.
So we got that. And let's just chuck in both of our goal scorers. This will really juice it up.
All right, who's your goal scorer?
I got Sean Manor.
Okay, and I got Ollie Dempsey.
So now adding in Sean Manor at $1.31 and adding in Ollie Dempsey at $1.70. This 5-leg multi comes out to $8.50. I absolutely love it.
Run us through it.
I'm going to be chucking a big chunk on this. The final multi comes out. $8.50, like I said. Josh Dunkley, 21 disposals. Patrick Dangerfield, 21 disposals. Dane Zorko, 24 disposals. Sean Manor and Ollie Dempsey, anytime goal scorer. Love it.
This is the Punters Pod Mega Grand Final. Gamble responsibly, but this is very, very juicy and we love it. Before we end, Jez, of course, you forgot first goal scorer and Norm Smith medalist.
Well, I got a first goal scorer from both teams, so pick which one you want or just do both of them. For the Cats, I've got Sean Manor, the man that I just said, so it'll tick off the first leg in a multi really nicely at $14.
I've got Brad Close at $26.
Juicy. And I've got Charlie Cameron at $14 for the Lions.
And I've got Callum Archie at $21.
Not bad. And Norm Smith medalist. For me, this is the easiest decision ever. I'm also going to be pumping a shit ton into this bet right here. Dangerfield for the Norm Smith medal. He got robbed of it last time they played in the grand final because Isaac Smith had that massive game. I love him there.
What's he paying?
$7.
And I've got Jeremy Cameron at $18. I think Jezza can really easily go off for 5 goals and 16 disposals and win it in a dominant performance. That'll be us, Jez.
That'll be us, boys. The fucking season has come to an end. We will be doing a little grand final recap next week, so this is not the last that you've heard of us this season.
Come around for that next week. We appreciate all of you for listening. Peace, prosperity, and love. You.